I can't believe someone I never heard of is hanging out with a guy like me.
All right, it's closing time. Who's paying the tab?
I am.
I didn't say that.
Yes, I did.
We all know the Simpsons have made quite a name for themselves in the prediction game, throwing out wild guesses about the future like it's no big deal.
The amplitude of the sine wave is insufficient for burp me, and this sawtooth formation is something I've never...
But what if we told you there's a twist in the tale? What if someone else beat them to the punch by thousands of years?
So the name of this show is Strange and Suspicious. The strange, I can nail this with an Egyptian sarcophagus that looks almost identical.
Are we looking at a hilarious case of time travel, or did ancient Egyptians really see Springfield coming? 1. Mummy knows best. So, the Simpsons might have been low-key, predicting the future for years, but now it looks like ancient Egypt beat them to the punch. In 2023, archaeologists in Minya, Egypt, stumbled upon a 3,500-year-old sarcophagus of Tati Ist, the daughter of the high priest of Jehuti, and the inside of the lid had a bit of a surprise. A figure that looks suspiciously like Marge Simpson. Yeah, we're talking yellow-hued skin, a strapless green dress, and that tall, blue crown that's eerily similar to Marge's signature blue beehive. Is this history? Or is someone playing a very elaborate prank? Turns out, the figure is actually Nut, the Egyptian sky goddess, who's a big deal when it comes to the afterlife. She was the comforting, maternal figure that guided souls into the afterlife. Kind of like how Marge keeps Homer on the straight and narrow. Okay, maybe Nut had an easier job. New Kingdom-era coffin lids were always pretty detailed, often featuring deities and scenes from the Book of the Dead. But this one, well, let's just say fans of The Simpsons aren't letting the Marge resemblance go. Nut, the goddess, not the snack, was often drawn above the deceased, nurturing their souls in the afterlife. But now, fans of The Simpsons can't stop seeing her. Which one is cuter? Like for the dog comment for the cat. As Marge's long-lost ancestor, could Marge's look be inspired by this ancient goddess? Or maybe Egypt was predicting The Simpsons way before the show even existed. At this point, anything's possible. The real question is, who's doing the predicting here? 2. Eat Up Martha. In one of those moments where The Simpsons blurred the line between satire and prophecy, we get the infamous Eat Up Martha gag from the 1994 episode Lisa on Ice. What seemed like a throwaway joke about the Newton PDA's terrible handwriting recognition ended up being one of those rare moments when The Simpsons didn't just predict the future, they changed it. The Newton, Apple's first attempt at a personal digital assistant, was notorious for its janky handwriting recognition. When the bully Dolph types "Beat Up Martin," the Newton hilariously translates it as "Eat Up Martha," a glitch that hit a little too close to home for Apple. Fast forward to the 2000s, when Apple was working on the iPhone. The engineers tasked with designing the keyboard knew one thing for sure: they could not repeat the Newton's mistake. In fact, Apple employees started using "Eat Up Martha" as their inside joke for how bad it could get if they didn't nail the iPhone's autocorrect feature. It became the mantra for avoiding another public embarrassment. According to tech folklore, the phrase got passed around the office as a warning. No Newton-level flops allowed on their watch. And thus, autocorrect was born when the iPhone launched in 2007. With much more sophisticated text prediction technology than the Newton ever had. Of course, autocorrect still has its moments of rogue creativity, but it's miles ahead of where it was back in the 90s. It's wild to think a single joke on The Simpsons pushed Apple to prioritize its keyboard functionality so seriously. What started as a dig at clumsy tech ended up being a crucial piece of Apple's iPhone puzzle. So, the next time your autocorrect saves or destroys your message, you've got The Simpsons to thank for that little push in the right direction. 3. Stealing cooking grease for cash. Back in 1998, The Simpsons graced us with one of Homer's wildest get-rich-quick ideas in the episode Lard of the Dance. The plan? Cook an obscene amount of bacon, collect the grease, and then sell it for profit. And if that wasn't enough, Homer and Bart even took their greasy heist to new levels by sneaking into Springfield Elementary to steal from the cafeteria's stash. It was classic Homer chaos, but it turns out he might have been onto something. It seems like Homer's not the only one who had a light bulb moment over some leftover grease. In cities like New York, modern-day thieves have been pulling off their own version of Homer's scheme. Armed with hoses, vacuums, and modified engines, these grease bandits are siphoning used cooking oil, known as yellow grease, from restaurant dumpsters. But why? Because that rancid sludge has become liquid gold, thanks to its ability to be turned into biodiesel. The real-life version of this scheme has become so prolific that it's grown into an underground market where grease can sell for $1 per gallon. In comparison, legitimate grease haulers, yes, those exist, pay restaurants up to $2 a gallon to collect this stuff and transport it to refineries. In fact, in 2011 alone, city haulers collected a staggering 8.3 million gallons from NYC's 17,000 restaurants, turning this kitchen waste into everything from diesel fuel to animal feed. Talk about taking out the trash in style. Restaurant owners have started to fight back against these greasy bandits, hiring private investigators and beefing up security like they're protecting a vault of treasure. And with some calling it industrial cooking oil espionage, you can't help but think that the thieves are channeling their inner Homer, sneaking around like cartoonish villains. So, while Homer's 1998 plan to turn bacon grease into big bucks was all about laughs, it seems that in reality, greasy business can be quite profitable. The only question left is whether the modern grease thieves also enjoy a side of bacon with their heists. 4. Homer's whistle and FIFA's foul play. In the 2014 episode, You Don't Have to Live Like a Referee, The Simpsons takes a hilarious swing at the world of soccer refereeing. Homer gets sucked into the chaos when FIFA faces a referee shortage due to rampant corruption. Talk about a setup ripe for comedy. Despite the temptation to bend the rules, Homer decides to call the game fairly, ultimately leading to Germany's World Cup victory. This narrative manages to poke fun at FIFA's infamous reputation long before the real-life drama unfolded. The writers of The Simpsons have an uncanny knack for predicting the future, and this episode is no exception. Germany did indeed take home the trophy in 2014, making Homer's fictional refereeing feel almost prophetic. But hold on, because what came next in 2015 was anything but a fairy tale ending. FIFA's headquarters got raided by the cops, and the allegations were enough to make your head spin. Bribery, fraud, and money laundering all wrapped up in a neat little scandal worth $150 million. Imagine Homer, with his big heart and lack of coordination, caught in such a web. The absurdity of it all just adds to the comedy gold that The Simpsons serves up so well. The fallout from the real-life FIFA scandal was nothing short of insane. High-ranking officials were tangled in a web of deceit that left soccer fans reeling. Reports revealed that these bigwigs were pocketing kickbacks for tournament bids and sponsorships, like some kind of twisted soccer game where the refs were in on the scheme. Meanwhile, Homer fumbles through matches, trying to make the right calls, while FIFA officials were busy making under-the-table deals. It's like watching a sitcom and a crime drama unfold simultaneously. While Homer's attempts to bring some integrity to the game were purely comedic, the reality of FIFA's corrupt practices was no laughing matter. As the investigation dragged on, it became clear that the world of soccer needed a serious makeover. If only the FIFA execs could take a page from Homer's playbook, stumbling and bumbling his way through, but always trying to do the right thing. So, what does it all mean? The Simpsons isn't just about laughs and silliness. It's a mirror reflecting the absurdities of the real world. Homer's whistle may be a joke, but the chaos surrounding FIFA is painfully real, with The Simpsons consistently hitting the nail on the head when it comes to predicting future events. You can't help but wonder what other outrageous scenarios they might have up their sleeves. Maybe we'll see Homer running for FIFA president next. 5. Mr. Burns' Casino, the wild side of Springfield. In a hilarious nod to Las Vegas extravagance, Mr. Burns decides that Springfield needs a little more glitz and glamour by building his very own casino. Picture this: neon lights flashing, slot machines ringing, and the smell of desperation mingling with overpriced buffets. Amidst all the Vegas references, we meet Gunter and Ernst, a delightful parody of Siegfried and Roy, except with a twist that only The Simpsons could deliver. Things take a wild turn when their beloved white tiger, Anastasia, decides she's had enough of showbiz and goes off script. What's a Vegas act without a little danger, right? In a moment straight out of a cartoonist's wildest dreams, Anastasia goes from graceful feline to ferocious predator, turning the show into an unexpected disaster. It's a scene that's both ridiculous and relatable, reminding us that working with wild animals can lead to, well, unpredictable outcomes. 10 years after the episode aired, reality hit hard. Roy Horn, one half of the iconic duo Siegfried and Roy, faced a similar fate when he was attacked by a tiger during a performance in Las Vegas in 2003. Yikes! Talk about life imitating art, or is it the other way around? This Simpsons episode serves up a mix of belly laughs and a pinch of reality. Sure, it's easy to giggle at Gunter and Ernst's misfortunes, but the episode subtly reminds us of the risks that come with taming wild beasts for entertainment. Because let's face it, even the most trained tigers can have a diva moment. One minute they're doing tricks, the next they're auditioning for a horror film. In true Simpsons fashion, this storyline combines humor with a thoughtful nod to the unpredictable nature of showbiz. Mr. Burns might think he's cashing in on the bright lights of Vegas, but behind every roaring tiger is a reminder that life and entertainment can be a gamble. So the next time you're at a circus or a casino, just remember, you never know when a wild card might come into play. 6. The US wins gold in curling. Homer and Marge, just your average couple, suddenly find themselves on the US curling team for the 2010 Winter Olympics in The Simpsons episode Boy Meets Curl. They sweep their way through the competition, defeating the formidable Swedish team and clinching that shiny gold medal. 2018 comes along, and it's déjà vu all over again. The US team faces off against Sweden at the Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang. And guess what? They win gold once more. Did The Simpsons just pull off another miraculous prophecy? It seems like Homer and Marge's win wasn't just a figment of Springfield's imagination. Curling might not be the flashiest sport on the Olympic stage, but it sure knows how to capture hearts and TV show writers. In both the episode and the real-life matchup, the US team showcased some serious skill, coming back from behind to secure their victory. In the gold medal match, with the score tied at 5 in the 8th end, US skip John Schuster fired a dramatic double takeout for 5 that left his team leading 10-5 with 2 ends to go, effectively sealing the win and the gold medal for the United States, which won its first gold medal in curling. They made it look easy, even if we all know that sweeping the ice is harder than it looks. The US men's curling team hadn't snagged a gold since 1932, making their 2018 triumph feel like a historic win, like finding the last slice of pizza at a party. Now let's talk about the curling phenomenon. The sport is often dubbed the roaring game for its strategic finesse, requiring precision and teamwork that goes beyond just throwing stones down the ice. Who knew a cartoon episode could bring attention to such a niche sport? But that's what The Simpsons do best. 7. Could the universe really be donut-shaped? Imagine sitting down for a beer with Stephen Hawking in 1999 and casually dropping a theory about the universe's shape. That's exactly what Homer Simpson does in The Simpsons episode, They Saved Lisa's Brain. As they sip their drinks, Homer suggests that the universe is shaped like a donut, and Hawking, yes, the Stephen Hawking, actually thinks it's a pretty cool idea, joking that he might have to steal it. But was Homer really onto something? Or did he just hop on the tourist train without fully knowing what it was? Turns out, the idea that the universe could be shaped like a donut, or more specifically, a torus, isn't all that new. In fact, this cosmic donut model has been floated around for years in scientific circles. The concept is that the universe is finite, but has no boundaries. Think of it like a 3D donut. If you travel far enough in one direction, you'll eventually loop back to where you started. Kind of like a cosmic road trip with no dead ends. While Homer might have tossed it out there as a joke, he's not too far off from a real scientific theory that some cosmologists have been toying with. Now let's rewind a bit. Back in 1978, Arthur M. Young, an inventor and philosopher, was playing around with the torus shape in his own theories. Young wasn't talking about the universe specifically, but he was fascinated by the torus as a symbol for the cycles of learning and growth in life. He saw it as a representation of how we experience things in loops, constantly evolving, but never really ending. In a way, Young's ideas about the torus reflected a deeper philosophical take on existence, which is kind of like what cosmologists are doing when they think about the universe's shape. So, did Homer come up with it first? Or was he just tapping into something bigger without realizing it? It seems like our favorite Springfield resident stumbled onto an idea that's been in the works for a while. Whether he knew it or not, Homer's donut universe theory isn't as crazy as it sounds. And with Stephen Hawking giving it a thumbs up, maybe he was onto something after all. 8. The Simpsons movie predicted NSA spying. Leave it to The Simpsons to predict the future. Again, in The Simpsons movie, we saw the NSA casually spying on the entire world, keeping tabs on everyone without a hint of secrecy. It seemed like typical Simpsons satire at the time, poking fun at the ever-expanding surveillance state. But then, in 2013, Edward Snowden dropped a bombshell, confirming that the US government, through the NSA, really was spying on its citizens and everyone else on a massive scale. In the movie, Marge and the gang try to avoid being tracked, but the NSA swoops in, listening to their every word. Funny on screen, but the laughs dried up when Snowden's leaks exposed programs like Prism, which was vacuuming up data from people's phone calls, emails, and internet usage. The chilling part? It wasn't just criminals or suspected terrorists being monitored. Regular folks, people like you and me, were being spied on without even knowing it. It's crazy to think that an animated comedy hits so close to home with this one. While The Simpsons was probably playing up the absurdity of government overreach, Snowden's revelations made it all too real. The surveillance wasn't a joke. It was, and still is, happening. So once again, The Simpsons nailed it, predicting the uncomfortable truth long before anyone realized just how deep the NSA's spying rabbit hole went. 9. The baby translator is here. Back in 1992, The Simpsons gave us a glimpse of something that seemed wildly futuristic at the time. In the episode Brother, Can You Spare Two Dimes?, Herb, Homer's estranged and once rich brother, makes a comeback with a unique invention, a baby translator. The device claims to decode baby babble, and when they test it on Maggie, it works. Herb's gadget translates her coos and cries, revealing her innermost thoughts. At the time, it felt like pure cartoon magic. Babies talk? Sure. The Simpsons. In 2016, we found ourselves not far from Herb's wild invention. Enter Zoondream, a company that's turned baby translation into more than just a cartoon fantasy. While it may not be as advanced as Herb's machine, no decoding existential baby woes yet, it can differentiate between different types of cries. Whether your baby is hungry, tired, in pain, or just bored, the app detects subtle differences in the crying patterns, giving parents peace of mind and insight into their baby's needs. It's like a real-life version of Herb's baby translator coming to life. But Zoondream isn't stopping there. Now they want to push the boundaries of what their app can do by testing whether baby cries can indicate early signs of certain pathologies. Their research aims to see if analyzing a baby's cries could help detect conditions like autism or other developmental issues, long before a child could be diagnosed by traditional means. The goal is to not only soothe crying babies, but also potentially provide critical information about their health and development. So, while Herb's fictional baby translator might have been a clever plot device in The Simpsons, Zoondream is making it a reality, and then some. 10. All you can eat, more like all you can sue. In the Simpsons universe, Homer's appetite knows no bounds. This was hilariously illustrated in Season 4, Episode 8, titled New Kid on the Block, where our favorite dad finds himself kicked out of a seafood restaurant for shamelessly overindulging in an all-you-can-eat deal. Instead of learning a lesson about moderation, Homer takes it to the next level and decides to sue the restaurant for false advertising. Classic Homer, right? But this absurd premise actually mirrors real-life legal battles. In 2012, a similar scene unfolded in the courts. A diner in New Jersey attempted to sue a buffet restaurant after being abruptly tossed out for, you guessed it, overdoing it at the all-you-can-eat buffet. They claimed the restaurant misrepresented its offer, arguing they had a legal right to indulge to their heart's content. While the judge ultimately dismissed the case, it raised eyebrows and chuckles, reminding everyone of Homer's zany courtroom antics. But the parody didn't stop there. In 2017, another lawsuit rolled in from Springfield. Yes, you read that right. Springfield, Massachusetts, where a man found himself on the wrong side of an all-you-can-eat buffet. He claimed he was booted from the restaurant unjustly and pursued legal action, echoing Homer's ridiculous claims in that classic episode. These real-life legal cases serve as a comedic reflection of the show's take on America's obsession with food and the lengths people will go for a good meal, and maybe a few free shrimp cocktails. So, while Homer's pursuit of justice may have been driven by an insatiable hunger, it's hilarious to think that his cartoonish antics are almost a reality. In the world of all-you-can-eat deals, who knew that sue-you-can-eat might just become a thing? 11. Crystal balling with Nobel predictions. In the Season 22 premiere elementary school musical, Lisa and her friends whip up a prediction sheet for the Nobel Prize announcements. One name on that list? Bengt R. Holmström, a Finnish economist who, let's be honest, most of us hadn't even heard of back then. Fast forward to 2016, and voila, Holmström snags the Nobel Prize in economics. Milhouse, take a bow. Can we just take a second to appreciate how brilliant this little gag is? Milhouse, forever the underdog and professional loser in the eyes of his peers, picks an actual Nobel Prize winner while the rest of us are trying to remember if that guy is from our economics class or the local library. It's like the Simpsons had insider information, or maybe they were just channeling the chaotic energy of 1,000 economic theories. Holmstrom's work in contract theory is all about how to structure incentives and contracts. Super important stuff, but it's hilarious to think that Little Milhouse was the only one predicting it. In a world where predicting the next viral TikTok dance feels like a gamble, The Simpsons nails it with a throwaway line in a kid's prediction sheet. It's a perfect blend of humor and genius, and honestly, it just makes you wonder, what else are they onto? 12. The Higgs boson particle. In the wacky world of The Simpsons, Homer's aspirations to become an inventor are hilariously explored in the episode The Wizard of Evergreen Terrace. Picture it, our favorite bumbling dad, inspired by the great Thomas Edison, is scribbling away on a chalkboard, working on what appears to be a groundbreaking mathematical equation. Over a decade later, scientists are stunned to discover that the mass of the elusive Higgs boson particle, the so-called God particle, closely aligns with Homer's scribbles. Talk about a cosmic coincidence. The Higgs boson particle is a key player in the universe's grand design, helping us understand how particles snag their mass. Discovered in 2012 at CERN, this elusive particle confirmed the existence of the Higgs field, a concept that physicists had theorized for decades. When scientists finally made this groundbreaking discovery, the echoes of Homer's chalkboard calculations from The Simpsons rang in their ears. It was as if the beloved show had pulled a rabbit out of a hat, predicting a major scientific breakthrough, and they weren't alone in their astonishment. The coincidence had fans and experts alike doing double takes, blending the worlds of comedy and serious science in a way that only The Simpsons can. The episode aired in 1998, way before scientists confirmed the particle's existence. Homer's hilariously misquoted equation wasn't just for laughs. It nudges us to ponder whether a cartoon character's wild imagination could actually brush up against the principles of theoretical physics. It's a playful idea that highlights the show's bizarre knack for predicting the future, all while keeping things lighthearted. As if that wasn't enough, this connection between The Simpsons and the Higgs boson particle reminds us of the show's legacy in pop culture and its surprising relevance in scientific discussions. With a knack for touching on real-world issues and breakthroughs, The Simpsons continues to inspire curiosity and laughter in equal measure. So next time you watch an episode, keep your eyes peeled. You never know what scientific marvel might spring from Homer's chalkboard calculations. Or is it just another case of cartoonish coincidence?